Chapter 31. The next morning, Aarya walked into Arnav's chambers with a question that had refused to leave her mind all night. Would he look at me the same way today? The room was empty. She paused, glancing around, but Arnav was nowhere to be seen. The guards informed her that he had gone for a run early that morning. Aarya nodded and quietly began making arrangements for breakfast. Yet, every few minutes, she found herself returning to his chambers, just to catch a glimpse of him. Just once. Nearly an hour later, Arnav finally returned. The moment he saw Aarya waiting inside, something in him shifted. He turned his head away almost immediately, avoiding her gaze as if it burned. "Good morning," Aarya said gently. Such a simple greeting. Yet it unsettled him more than anything else. He wanted to look at her. He wanted to keep looking. He wanted to hold her hand again. He wanted to go back to the village fair. Just the two of them this time. He wanted to walk her back last night. He wanted that night to never end. But he refused to let himself believe any of it was real. It's just proximity, he told himself. We spent too much time together, talked, held hands, people assumed things. And I let it get into my head. That had been his conclusion after a sleepless night. The run was supposed to clear his thoughts. It hadn't. Because there she was, and whatever clarity he thought he had found dissolved instantly, like sugar in water. There was only one solution left: distance. Cold, deliberate distance. "Is breakfast ready yet?" Arnav asked, ignoring her greeting entirely. The words landed harder than he intended. Arya's expression faltered just for a moment. The man she had seen yesterday, the one who had laughed, teased, felt, was gone. In his place stood the crown prince again. Distant, guarded, untouchable. Maybe he's just stressed, she thought quietly. "I haven't asked the chef to serve the breakfast yet," she replied softly. "I wasn't sure when you would return. Ask Kabir and my sister to join me for breakfast. Make the arrangements." His tone was firm, controlled. He couldn't be alone with her. Not now. Not when his thoughts refused to obey him. "Let me draw a bath for you first," Aarya said, stepping forward slightly. "That won't be necessary." His voice hardened. "Just do what you're told." "But I can help," she hesitated. "You are dismissed." He didn't look at her. Not once. And before she could say anything more, he turned and walked toward the bathing chamber. Chapter 32. At the breakfast table, Kabir and Avantika sat across from each other, while Arnav took the seat beside Kabir. Aarya chose to stand behind Avantika this time. From there, she could steal glances at Arnav without being too obvious. He wasn't paying attention to the conversation unfolding around him. He looked troubled. Avantika and Kabir both noticed it, but Arnav was not someone who opened up easily. Not unless he chose to. "So, brother," Avantika began lightly. "Where were you last night? I heard you canceled all your meetings. I even stopped by your chambers, but you weren't there." Aarya froze. He had meetings. And yet, he had spent the entire evening with her. For her. A strange ache settled in her chest. Then why? Why won't he look at me today? Why is he pretending I don't exist? Is he avoiding me? Did I do something wrong? The thoughts twisted uncomfortably in her stomach. "I had a personal commitment," Arnav replied, offering nothing more. His gaze remained fixed on his plate. Then, almost too quickly, he added, "Why did you want to see me?" "I wanted your opinion on something," Avantika said, smoothly shifting the conversation. "Given your magnificent victory over Sagarkidu, I thought we should celebrate." "A celebration?" Arnav looked up for the first time. "Yes, we invite our allies. Royal families, dignitaries, officers. It gives you a chance to reconnect, assess the kingdoms you've conquered, maintain alliances. Perhaps even plan your next move." Avantika knew exactly how to capture her brother's attention. A spark returned to Arnav's eyes. "Sounds good. When are you planning this?" "Tomorrow." "Isn't that a bit last minute?" Kabir frowned slightly. Arnav nodded in agreement. Well, Avantika paused dramatically, clearly enjoying the moment. The invitations are already sent. The venue is being prepared as we speak. The kitchen has finalized the menu. A triumphant smile spread across her face. Everything is under control. Arnav let out a small smirk. Then why ask me at all, if it's just a formality? For a brief moment, something familiar returned to his expression. Arnav lifted his cup and finished the last sip of his coffee. He wanted more, but that would mean asking for it, which would mean looking at Aarya, speaking to her. He set the cup down instead. Aarya noticed. Before she could stop herself, she stepped forward to pour him another cup. At the exact same moment, Arnav reached for the pot himself. Their fingers brushed. A sharp, electric sensation shot through her. Almost instinctively, Aarya looked up. And for the first time that morning, Arnav was looking at her. Directly. His fingers lingered against hers, for a fraction longer than they should have. Her breath caught. Something tightened in her chest, unfamiliar and overwhelming. The world seemed to narrow down to just that moment. And then the pot slipped from her hand. It struck the table with a dull clatter, spilling coffee across the pristine white linen, staining it a deep beige. Avantika caught it just before it could fall to the ground. "I'm so sorry, Your Highness, I was." Arya's voice faltered, the words refusing to come together. Her mind raced ahead of her. This is it. He'll be furious. He'll accuse me of not paying attention. Punish me. Dismiss me. But instead, Arnav stood up abruptly and stepped toward her. Before she could react, he took her hand in his. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice unexpectedly gentle. "No. I'm fine," she said softly, still looking at him. For a brief moment, something in his expression softened. Relief, unmistakable and unguarded. Then just as quickly it vanished. He released her hand. "I have a meeting," Arnav said shortly, already stepping away. And just like that, he was gone. Kabir and Avantika watched the entire exchange in silence. Then, slowly, they exchanged a look. Chapter 33. Aarya had to wait for Kabir and Avantika to finish breakfast. If she had a choice, she would have followed Arnav the moment he left. One moment he was vulnerable. The next, the walls were back. Higher than ever. Aarya went to Arnav's study and waited, patiently. It took a couple of hours before she was finally allowed inside. "You wanted to see me?" Arnav asked, not looking up from the papers spread across his desk. He didn't acknowledge her bow. "Yes. Your Highness, I wanted to personally apologize for what happened this morning." "No need. Is that all?" His tone was clipped deliberate. No, the frustration slipped through before she could stop it. That made him look up. "I mean, I also wanted to thank you for accompanying me to the fair yesterday." Again, no need. His voice turned colder. "Is there a point to this conversation?" The words hit harder than he intended. He saw it, the flicker of hurt in her eyes. "As a token of my gratitude," Aarya said softly, her voice tightening. "I wanted to give you this amulet that I brought from Fortune Teller yesterday." She placed the amulet bracelet on his desk. Arnav glanced at it, confusion flickering across his face. "I got something for everyone," she continued, steadying herself. "Jai and Jui got sweets. They can't resist them. Bella loves relaxing baths, so I got her soap and candles. Mr. Singh likes honey in his tea, so I got him honey." She paused. "And I got you this." Arnav leaned back slightly. "Because," he prompted. "Because your safety ensures the safety of more than 6 kingdoms." Aarya met his gaze. Her voice was calm. "Certain." Arnav's eyes dropped back to the bracelet. He didn't touch it. "Is that all?" he asked quietly now, the sharpness in his tone fading. "Yes," Aarya replied. She turned to leave. "Before you go," his voice stopped her mid-step. "You should know. I'm considering sending you back to Mrs. Sharma." Aarya turned sharply. What? But why? I don't need a personal attendant anymore. Each word landed heavily. I apologize for what I'm about to say, Your Highness, Aarya said, her voice steady but charged. But I am not something to be wanted one moment and discarded the next. Her gaze locked onto his. What is my fault? Did I do something wrong? Or are you just going to keep pushing me away without telling me why? Arnav didn't respond. If you don't want me as your primary attendant, I understand, she continued. That is your decision. But I won't stay in this castle if I'm not wanted. Are you threatening me? Arnav said, rising from his chair. His voice dropped dangerously low. He crossed the distance between them in seconds. Aarya instinctively stepped back, until her back hit the wall. Arnav braced his hands on either side of her, trapping her in place. You think I would let you leave? Arnav was too close, his presence overwhelming, his anger unmistakable. I am not letting you go anywhere, he said, his voice rough with restrained emotion. Don't ever say that again, understood? Yes, Aarya replied quietly. Go help Avantika with the preparations for tomorrow's celebration, he said, turning away. Until then. I don't want to see your face. He stepped back, just like that, as if nothing had happened. Chapter 34. Aarya walked through the long corridors, her steps steady but her mind restless. Arnav's voice echoed in her ears. His eyes. There had been something different in the way they lingered on her today. By now, she could read them easily. Anger, annoyance, frustration, even nervousness. But what she had seen today, that was new. There had been something raw in them. Something almost possessive. When she mentioned leaving the castle, for a brief moment he looked almost wounded. The memory stirred something inside her. Aarya felt both happy and troubled. Happy, because he cared. And troubled, because she had spoken of leaving when she never truly wanted to go. Her eyes welled up again. To stop herself from thinking about him, she threw herself into work. Avantika kept her busy throughout the day. Garlands for the celebration. Seating arrangements. Small gifts for the guests. By evening, Aarya was helping in the kitchen, preparing for the next day's feast. The work was exhausting, but it helped. For a while. Later that night, Aarya caught a glimpse of Arnav leaving the dining hall. Not his face, just his back. She looked away immediately. She had been told not to show him her face. A few weeks ago, she would have welcomed that, any excuse to stay unseen, unnoticed. Now she regretted it. When she returned to Avantika's chambers to report her progress, Kabir and Avantika were preparing to retire for the night. Good job, Avantika said warmly after listening to her. I couldn't have managed all this without you. Aarya nodded quietly. I can see why my brother chose you as his primary attendant, Avantika added with a smile. Kabir coughed lightly, disguising a chuckle. Tomorrow, Avantika continued. I've assigned you as one of the servers for the evening. The kitchen is short-staffed, and they needed someone reliable. I hope you don't mind. That's not a problem, Your Highness. Good night, Aarya replied softly. She turned to leave. Wait, I'm not done yet. Avantika gently tapped her shoulder. Aarya turned back. I believe this is for you, Avantika said, pulling out a soft pink lehenga from a neatly folded bag. Wear this to the celebration tomorrow. Aarya blinked, taken aback. Your Highness. That's very kind of you, but it's not necessary. I'll be in uniform. Like the other servers. A part of her wanted to go back to being invisible again. Nonsense, Avantika said lightly. That won't do. She tilted her head playfully. And those silk skirts you wear every day. Kabir tells me my brother gifted them to you after you helped him make a difficult decision. She smiled. I'm a princess too, you know. Aarya couldn't help but smile faintly. Jokes apart, Avantika added more gently. You truly outdid yourself today. This is just a small token of appreciation. Her eyes softened. It would make me very happy if you wore it tomorrow. Thank you, Your Highness, Aarya said quietly. Words felt insufficient. Before she could react, Avantika stepped forward and wrapped her in a warm hug. Aarya stilled for a moment. Human touch. It reminded her of her mother. And in that moment, a sharp guilt rose inside Aarya. With everything that had been happening, she had almost forgotten about her mother. Arya's vision blurred as tears slipped down her cheeks. Avantika felt it immediately. She held Aarya a little tighter, gently patting her back. Everything is going to be all right, she whispered softly. Thank you for listening. As the writer of this story, I have a question for you. What do you think fate has planned for Aarya and Arnav? Every choice has a consequence. Every secret has a cost. And every path leads to a new challenge waiting to be faced. Will they lift each other up or tear each other apart? The answers await in the next episode. If you're enjoying the story, please like, subscribe, and follow the channel so you never miss an episode. Your support helps this story reach more listeners, and it truly means the world to this writer. See you next time.